Alright guys, hello and welcome back. In the last video, we made a simple nav bar, but today I'm going to show you guys how you can make a responsive one. We will be using HTML, CSS, and a little bit of JavaScript, but don't worry, I'll walk you guys step by step on how to make it. I hope you guys enjoy the video, and like always, the source code will be in the description. Start out by making an index.html and a styles.css. You can name them whatever you want. I just like to name them index and styles. Let's start out by linking, spelled that wrong. Link your styles.css and rename your title to whatever you want. I'm just going to name it responsive nav. Nav. Oh my god, I'm not spelling anything right. In the body, we're going to start out by making a nav and put dot. Let's just name it container. Actually, let's not even give it a class, because we can target it just by a nav in the styles.css file. Then let's start out by making a logo. Again, you can name the classes whatever you want. I'm just going to be naming them logo and nav links, just like we did in the last video. Let's make a h1, and let's just name this nav bar. Go down here, make a ul. And again, I should have done the other class way, but we're just going to name a class of nav and then links. And let's put an li and then an a tag. Hashtag goes nowhere. Home. Copy all this. Paste it 2 more times. Name this one about and this one contact. That's a good start. So this is pretty much how the HTML file looked in the last video when we just created the simple one. But the different thing we're going to do now is we're going to make the burger menu, which are these 3 bars you probably see on a normal nav bar on other websites. And we can make that with just HTML and CSS. You can also do a whatever font awesome logo if you want. I'm just going to do a custom one. So I'm going to put dot or period and burger. You can name that whatever you want. And then again, dot dash 1. What these are going to be are just going to be the lines that we style in the CSS file. Let's copy 2 more of these and name this to dash 2 and dash 3. And we're going to add the JavaScript file later on. And right now we don't need to worry about it. We're just going to do the styling and everything. In the CSS file, we are going to import the URL, which is just going to be this font, the Google fonts, the family of Montserrat. I'll have the link to this exact one. In the last video I showed you guys how you can get these font families from font Google. I keep saying that wrong. Next, let's make a target all the things in the HTML and then margin, and we're going to add 0, padding 0, and the font family to be I should have just copied this from the font. I can't say that right. It's Google Fonts. And then the fallback will just be the sans serif. Sans serif. Okay. Then let's go to the body, and I'm gonna make the overflow hidden. You'll see why we need this later. Actually, I'll just not even use this right now. Show you guys why we'll need it later. But nav, this will target everything in the nav. We're gonna set display to flex, and justify content to space around, align items, center, the height to 66 pixels. You can set this to whatever. This is just the height of your nav bar. And we're gonna set the background color real quick, just to like this, and just so you can see how tall it actually is. So add a border bottom, just like we did. This is pretty much exactly like the simple nav bar we made in the last one. So if you followed along with that, you can just copy all this stuff until we get to the new stuff. So you get the border bottom. Border bottom. And you're going to set it to 1 pixel, solid, an RGBA. And this was 51, 51, 51, 0.138. This is just this little off black kind of color. We can delete the background color now. right here. Looks pretty cool. Down here, you'll target the nav links. And we're going to set these to the display of flex, justify content to be spaced around, and the width to be 30%. Right here, you can see there's have a little room over here. And the justify content space around, just like I have it up here, gives them even number of space on left and right side, and just kind of gives a better flow of the page. Let's go down here. Nav links LI, the list style to none, and then nav links A this time, text decoration to none, the color, wow, I can't spell anything today, color to let's do an RGBA again. This is going to be a 0.59. Let's add a transition to this. So for the hover effect, we're going to make 0.3 seconds ease. And let's do a dot navlinks a hover, which will go on the hover. And we'll change the color to pure black. Over here on the website, you can see it just has this cool hover effect whenever you go over it. Down here, we are going to make, we actually going to not make, but style the burger. In the burger, we're going to change the cursor to pointer, the position to absolute, and cursor to pointer just makes it so like on this nav bar, if you put a cursor pointer on the nav bar, it'll just be like it's a link. So you can hover over it and it'll give you the pointer like on a regular A tag. Position absolute, that's just going to be for positioning it. Let's do this 1.2 rem and the right to be 1.5 rem. You can't really see this yet because we haven't actually gave the width or height to the actual dashes yet or lines. So let's do that right now. Dot burger and then all the divs inside of it. So that will be all of these right here. I'll set the width to 25 pixels. The height to 3 pixels. And the background color to black. You can see it right there. It's kind of a little square right now. So we actually need a margin. And 6 pixels maybe. It looks a little off. Let's go 5. Yeah, it looks a little better now. Alright. Let's add a transition here. Actually, we're going to add this later on because this is going to be for the animation it has when you click it. Now, what we need to do is we need to do a media, I think they're called media queries. I can't remember though. And we're going to target the screen and then we're going to say max width to be 800 pixels. This is like a regular kind of size. I think phone size are like 300 pixels or whatever. But if you go to inspect and you go to responsive and you trim this down, it's kind of like at around 800 pixels, I would say, when it starts getting a little crammed. That's why I like making it responsive around there. You can change this to whatever. It'll just take place whenever it actually whenever the width is at 800 pixels, it'll take place. We can just select the body real quick and give it a background color of, let's go aqua, and we'll see this take place in a second. So when we go down here, changes everything on the page. Kind of cool. We are not going to target the body though. We're going to be targeting the nav links, and let's change the flex direction to column. So let's just actually go fully in here. See how they changed to a column? This is going to be because we're going to have this cool up thing going. It's going to be an animation of the nav links just coming up from the bottom. So this needs to be in a column. Doesn't have to be, but just how I'm doing it. Position to absolute. This will kind of, so they were in flex before. So that's why the nav bar went back to the middle, because that's how much space is taken up now. these are not in the display flex anymore. So the nav bar can go right to the middle. That's why it does that. Change the top to the 66 pixels. We do that because the height of the nav is 66 pixels. So it'll be right below it. Change the width. Oops, spelled it wrong again. 100%. This will give it a width of 100%. You could change the background color to something like red just to see it take place. Before it wasn't taking up 100%, so this just makes it sure that it's taking up as much space as it can. Justify content. Center. This is what it's going to make it go to the center. You can't see that exactly yet because we're in a column. So center now won't be in the middle. It'll actually be on the side like a line item thing. All right, before we specify the height of it, we're actually going to change this height. I think I'm going to set it to a 7 view height. You'll see why in a second. It's taking up a little more room, I think. I didn't look at it while I was doing it, but now if we go to the height of this to be a 93 view height, it'll be exactly enough. I don't know why this why it's going up at the bottom. I have no clue right now. Oh, maybe it's from here. It actually is. Never mind. It changes to 7. All right, now it's taking up perfect amount. We are going to target the justify content. So justify content, space around, and this will just make them spaced evenly, even gaps and stuff. Change the background color to a 19 RGBA. Oh my god, I'm not a big fan of this right now. 195. Again, you can customize the colors whatever you want. Just for this example, this is what colors I'm going to be using. And 0.56. This is kind of a grayish color. You don't need to make it like that. Alright, now let's change align items to center. Align items, we'll just put them in the center, just like justify content would, but we're in a column, so it's going to do the opposite. Next, let's do a transform. Translate Y 100%. This is going to move it all the way down to the bottom. This is where the overflow hidden comes in handy. Go to the body and change the overflow to hidden. This just hides it so you can't scroll down and see it, which is very helpful. Alright, change the transition to a 0.2 second ease. We'll see this take place in a second when we start actually doing the animations. Let's target the nav, and we're going to add a justify content center and a transition of 0.2 seconds ease. We will see this take place when we actually change the color of it, and we actually don't need a justify content center. I was thinking there. We'll see this take place when we change the color of the nav links, the background that was gray. We want this to be gray too. We'll see this later on. Next, let's go to the burger. Add a display of none. The reason we're doing this is so that when you're on full screen, you don't see it. But when the width is 800 pixels or less, we will make it show up. And to do that, we'll just go to the burger and display to block. And this will just put it right there. Next, we're going to add these active properties to the nav and the burger. These are not going to take place till we use our JavaScript, but we can add them right now. And how we're going to do that is we're going to make a nav.active. You can still name it whatever, but this is not in our HTML anywhere, so it hasn't even been used yet. But we can add it on to something like the nav with JavaScript. Oops, wrong button. Okay. Nav active, and what we want to happen is we want to translate Y to 0. What this will do is actually put it right where it was, because we put it on 100%, so this is all the way off the page, and now it's just back up to where it was before. And now we're gonna open here, make a app.js. You can name it whatever. Most people name it script.js, but I'm just gonna name it app. And next, let's make a const burger equals document dot query selector, and then the burger. This is going to target the burger. Where's the burger at? The burger class. Pretty much what this does is it puts burger. So instead of selecting the burger every single time we want to do something with it, we could just call burger instead. That's what this does. It's making a variable of burger. Next, we're actually just going to copy this and paste this down. And we're going to name this to nav links. The reason we do this uppercase L, it's called camel case. It's a thing you do in JavaScript when you're making variables. It's just normal. It's the way you're supposed to do it when naming variables. Change this to nav links. This will target all the links from UL. That's what we have our UL name, but nav. All this is going to be is again the document dot query selector, and then we don't have to put dot anymore. That's just calling a class. This is not a class. This is just like same body, and you don't have to put dot in front of this. If you're doing an ID, you could change this just to the hashtag or the number, whatever you want to call it. Alright, now change the burger. We're going to add an event listener, and you're going to put click. What this is going to do is every click, we want something to happen to the burger. Let's go here, and we're going to make a function, and we can just go like this. And this will make a function of, it's a nominous function. It's hard to explain if you don't know any JavaScript, but pretty much what this is doing is every single time we click, whatever we put in here is going to happen. The ES6 way of doing this, you can go here, and then you can put an arrow function, and this is what we're going to be doing because it just looks a little better. Either way will work just fine. We're going to do nav.classlist, and we're going to do .toggle. So the class list, we're going to add the one we haven't actually made yet. This is going to be a nav color one, and pretty much what this is going to do is I'm going to change the color of this upper nav area, so it's matching the color of the nav links. We're going to change this to the same one, which is this. So this will happen to the nav. This is called, we don't actually have to put the dot because we're already targeting the class list. So we can just put the nav dash color. And again, let's just copy this and put 2 more of these. Oops, 2 more. And this one will be the nav links. And we're just going to have this set to nav active, which is this one. So every single time we click the burger, it'll target the nav active. Next, let's make the burger. What we want the burger to do is we're going to add active to it. We haven't made this in CSS yet, but I'll show you guys what this is in a second. Now, if we go over to our HTML one, which I almost forgot to link it, so we can just go app.js, and boom. If you go over here, click this. Right now, we must have messed up something. Let's see, nav links. Right here. We forgot to add the period when I changed it. See, right now, it goes all the way up. Also, this does change the color too, so kind of looks pretty cool. Next, we want to change the burger to be in like a X or a time symbol, whatever you want to call it. And we can make that pretty easily in CSS. Down here, oh my god, I'm going crazy. Down here, let's make a .active. So we already add the active class, and we want this to target the -1. What we want to happen is we want to do a transform, rotate, -45 degrees. And this is just going to rotate it -45 degrees. Explains itself. But we want to translate it -5 pixels and then 5 pixels. You'll see why we need to do this in a second. I'll show you guys, but copy this, paste it 2 more times, and change this to 2 and this to 3. The second one, we don't want it to show because we're only using 2 lines to make the X. So we can just go display and none. Let's copy. Actually, all we got to change on this one is change the degrees to 45 and this to -1 and this to another -1. Oops, didn't change it. All right. Click this. It goes into an X. Pretty cool. Let's go to the burger again. Actually, no, we need to go all the way up here. If we had transition, I messed it up again. We actually gotta go to the divs because we're targeting the dashes. So at a transition of 0.2 seconds ease, this should do good. Now it kind of looks pretty cool. Last thing we can do is I wanted to explain these. So you can, if you remove these 2, what will happen is it goes like this. Pretty messed up because all you're doing is rotate. When you rotate the dashes, you're just rotating them from where they were. So you actually need to do the translates and move them down pixels and stuff. So just undo that real quick, and there you go. You have a working responsive navbar. In full screen, it'll work just fine. We have here, and the second you go into small screen, it'll work like this. The perfect working responsive navbar. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.